shares her journey as a diplomat's daughter, a lonely life, a loss of a child that resulted in her choosing a new career. Welcome, Keji. It's nice to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, that's good. Let's start with your childhood. What was childhood like for you?
Well, I grew up the child of a diplomat.
Okay.
So I spent a lot of time traveling. And as a result of the traveling, I changed a lot of schools.
Oh, yeah.
I did primary school in 3 countries.
Please, what countries are those? We want to know.
Started primary school in the UK.
Okay.
Did a bit of primary school in Nigeria.
Okay.
And finished off my primary school in Botswana.
Ah, so does that unsettle you in terms of friends and things like that?
It unsettled me in terms of friends. You know, by the time you've changed school once, twice, 3 times, you actually literally don't want to make friends anymore.
Yeah.
We didn't have social media or the internet back then.
That's true. Yeah.
So
there really won't be any way of really connecting.
No way of connecting, no way of keeping in contact.
Yeah, keeping contact with friends that you made, right. Okay, so you did say you started off, did you start off here or were you born here?
I was born here.
Okay, so you started off here and then you kind of like moved around. You mentioned to me that you went to Christian boarding school. So when did you really start your relationship with God? Have you always been conscious of God when you were a child, or? Because
we traveled a lot, I spent a lot of time away from my parents.
Okay.
I started secondary school in Nigeria, boarding school, and then I went to finish it off in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
And the reason I was in Zimbabwe was because my parents were based in Angola.
So which you're an international child.
Something like that.
Right, okay.
What that did was, when I went to secondary school in Zimbabwe, the secondary school that they chose for us happened to be a Christian secondary school.
Okay.
And when you're away from your parents, you either end up with gangs or you become conscious of the fact that there has to be someone else looking out for you. And because I went to Christian boarding schools, I became conscious of God from a very young age.
Right.
Unlike Nigeria, when you went to boarding school in Zimbabwe, you went out to go to church.
Okay.
So you were allowed out of the of the school. So we went to church not because we were looking for God, but because we knew we would be allowed out.
Right.
But you know, in the process of being in church and being in the presence of God, it touches you.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah.
And in boarding house, we also did what they call night vigil now, a scripture union night.
Okay. From that age, roughly how old were you?
12, 13.
Oh, okay.
So from that age, I guess the presence of God was working on me, or His Spirit.
Tickling you, reminding you I'm here. You shared with me that the creativity nature in you was discovered by accident. Share that story with us. How did that happen? And please tell us what country you were in here, because you know, between your transition. Yeah.
So I finished my A-levels in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
And then I moved back to Nigeria.
Okay. Did you learn languages as you were going on, just out of curiosity? I'm not one for languages. I don't pick them up.
I'm not really one for languages, but I learned a little bit of Portuguese.
Okay.
Just basic Portuguese.
Right. Okay.
And a little bit of Shona.
Okay.
And obviously I learned customs and foods.
Okay. Yes, you went along to
different countries.
Okay. So when you then finished, you were saying about your A-levels.
So when I finished my A-levels, I ended up back in Nigeria.
Okay.
I struggled through my A-levels, barely made my O-levels, failed my A-levels, and ended up in Nigeria. The Nigerian culture has always been fast.
In terms of
education.
The
Nigerian way of education has always been sharp and fast. And I knew that there was no way. You know, you're a Nigerian, you get a degree. Whether you like it or not, you are going to get a degree. And I knew that there was no way I could cope with an academic degree. we happened to be living next to we happened to have a next door neighbor who was the head of department of art and design at Yabatech.
Right, okay.
So he allowed me to enroll in classes and try it out.
Okay, just to help you really.
Just to help me discover whether or not I had a flair for it or whether there was anything in there.
Okay. Were your parents pushing you towards another direction?
My parents wanted me to study law. My dad wanted me to study law.
Okay.
But my mum was more of the thought process that she'll study whatever she wants.
Okay.
You know, so when we realized that I had a flair for art and design, my dad actually got me a place in Lasso to study law. And at the time I just thought, no, I struggled through secondary school. There's no way I'm going to struggle another. You know, I used to pray my way through exams. Lord, help! You know, and then just make the exam at the cutoff points. So, well, we discovered I had a flair for art in Nigeria. I took all the exams, the entrance exams, JAM. I exceeded the cutoff points, and that's how I ended up studying an ordinary national diploma at Yaba College of Tech.
And what was that in?
Ordinary in art and design.
In art and design, okay. And you discovered that you enjoyed that, you had a flair for it? I
discovered I had a flair for it. I discovered that I was alive when I did it because I was a bit of a loner.
Again, as a result of how you were brought up on your own, moving around.
All the traveling and all that.
Yeah.
I discovered I could do it for hours and not even realize time had passed. I just enjoyed it.
Excellent. So you then brought that portfolio from Yabatech here, and that was what helped you to start off your degree here, is that correct? That's
correct. Basically what happened was the ordinary national diploma took 5 years because there were strikes. We were in and out of school.
Why was it's not supposed to be that long?
It's supposed to be 2 years. So I spent 5 years doing a 2-year course, and I just thought, no, I can't go back for the higher. So what we did was we requested a prospectus from the UK.
Okay.
I put together a portfolio, assignments I had done in Nigeria, nothing more. Nothing elaborate, nothing that I had, I just put my assignments together. And my uncle happened to be coming, so he delivered it here with the forms. And that was how I got admission into to do a degree.
It's amazing because normally we wouldn't think you could get in a degree with something like that. You would think you'd have to go high and low and, you know, scatter around and do whatever gymnastics, you know, just putting a portfolio together and sending it forth, and you know, and that was what happened.
Yes, I had the help of my parents. I also had the help of my uncle, who are all international travelers. So I guess they were more versed and they knew what was possible more than I did, and everybody just pushed.
So then you came here, you started your degree. In the process, you got married, is that correct?
2 years into my degree, because you can imagine, I think I'd spent 6 years
altogether now, trying
to finish my higher education. That's true. So 2 years into my degree, I got married. By then I was 25. And then after you got married, what happened? You got pregnant? So after I got married, my husband came here, and shortly after he came here, I fell pregnant. That was, I think, the 3rd year of my degree, around August, September.
And you did share with me what happened to the pregnancy.
23 weeks in, I actually lost the pregnancy while I was still in university.
And what was that like for you?
Well, I lost the pregnancy just before Christmas, you know, so I was confused. Everything was all over the place. It was my first pregnancy, and at that point, they tell you, oh, once you've crossed over from 13 weeks, you know, you can't lose a pregnancy. So in my mind, I was confused that, what's going on? This is a bit too late. And it happened to be at 23 weeks, the point at which if you lose a pregnancy 22, 23 weeks, they're not going to do anything to save the child. You know, so you literally give birth.
And you do give birth like it's a normal, yeah.
Yeah, it's a normal full-grown, you know,
baby, yes.
it's a fully formed baby. You give birth, and then you have to sit down and watch the baby die, kind of thing, or wait for the baby to pass on.
What was that like for? Yeah. And where was God in all this? Were you saying to yourself, you know, God, where are you in all this?
I thought, what? Initially, I thought, am I being punished for something? You know, did I do something wrong? Did I miss something out? You know, are you punishing me for my past, kind of thing? And at the time, I didn't have enough time to process because this happened in December. And I thought to myself, I have literally got 5 months left to finish this degree. I'm not going to lose that as well. But because I didn't process or go for any counseling or go through a recovery process, I went back to university. I finished the degree and I threw it away. You know, I didn't finish on the high that I had, and I associated the degree with the loss. So I just thought, you know what?
That's it.
That's it.
And that was how you just closed up that chapter.
I closed off the chapter and I moved on.
And what did you move on to?
I moved on to initially customer services, and then I moved into IT. So I started working as a software tester, specializing in web, WAP technologies.
So all those years of you going into Yaba Tech, all those degrees, you just kind of like left that?
I threw it away. Yeah.
It's amazing when we don't, you know, try and grieve at times, which is necessary, which was something, and when we don't seek for help, even within the church, when we don't even reach out to people that can help us within the church, how we don't understand fully the impact of what that has on us. Okay, we're just going to go for a quick break now. We're going to come back, so hold that thoughts, and we'll talk about what then happened with this your new career that you went into. Please stay tuned.